Welcome to the Deconstructor of Fund podcast. Today, we're diving into the world of loyalty-driven user acquisition and retention with none other than Aaron Thandi, Chief Commercial Officer at Misplay. Now, if you've been paying attention to the mobile gaming space over the past few years, you've probably heard Misplay's name come up, often as the benchmark everyone is chasing. So in this episode, Aaron joins me to unpack how Misplay became the OG of rewarded engagement, why developers are increasingly turning to loyalty platforms to acquire high-value users, and how Misplay's AI-powered matchmaking between players and games creates a win-win-win scenario for players, developers, and Misplay itself. We get into why Misplay has taken deliberate and methodical approach to global expansion, what makes their user base so sticky and valuable, and how company is evolving its offering beyond just Google Play. And yes, Aaron teases some big announcement for MAU Vegas this month. So whether you're looking for high LTV users, just curious how loyalty is redefining growth on mobile, this episode, insights won't want to miss. That's a lot. I think this was a fun episode. I think it's a short. I think it's insightful. I think Aaron is a beast. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's just get into it. Aaron Thandi, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Mishka. Great to be here.
You were about to tell me about Jackson Hole.
I was going to say, I mean, you live in the winter weather and the snow, and you get it. So
Yeah.
it's a beautiful place to raise kids and enjoy all seasons.
Yes, exactly. This is like Montreal without the culture and the French and the English. So,
just a bit more isolated, and just on top of a volcano by Yellowstone. No big deal.
Exactly. But we're not here to talk about Jackson Hole, which would be an interesting podcast on itself. We're here to talk about Misplay. And I have to say congratulations, because for 2 years, I've been seeing pitches of the next Misplay.
It's a huge compliment. I mean, we did it first. People refer to us as the OG in the market, which I love. And the success speaks for itself, especially in recent years with the rapid growth. And look, rewarded works, right? I started my career at Tapjoy in 2013, doing rewarded offer stuff. And so I think as our markets continue to grow, and it's wavy, right? People are like, incentivize is a bad word. Now rewarded is okay. And you kind of go on these journeys, right? But ultimately, look, it's a massive compliment. And we see success, and our clients have worked with us for many, many, many years. And I think that speaks for itself.
So now you call it rewarded, because I've also heard about loyalty apps.
And we certainly do refer to ourselves as loyalty, and the terms get thrown around, loyalty and rewarded. For us, I think when we think loyalty specifically, which is really what we call our bread and butter, it's about that one-to-one relationship with the user, right? It's not necessarily putting SDKs in host apps like offer walls. It's more a case of, hey, do users trust your brand? Are they coming back? Are they sticky? Are you listening to them? Are you taking their feedback into account? And ultimately, are you driving a personalized experience for them, right? That's yielding strong rewards that they're interested in. And by the way, it was actually pretty interesting. I was doing a bit of research on the entire loyalty industry, not just Misplay. $96 billion, industry, with projections to grow into 2029 to $150 billion. Why? Powered by gamification, AI, and a mobile-first experience. So
that's loyalty.
That's loyalty as a whole. So it's interesting that transition into mobile gaming and how much of an opportunity I really think there still is. I think it's still the early stages.
Yeah, I was just looking at a company that has a loyalty, like it's a loyalty app, but it gifts you tokens, basically rewards for health activity. So it's not even fitness; it's like everything health related. So everything is being incentivized, rewarded, and yeah, just it's interesting how it's getting into all these verticals. But talking about Misplay, so correct me if I'm wrong. Misplay, Google Play only at the moment, right? Download the app. Once you have the app, it recommends you different types of games. So there's a little bit of personalization going on. And the more you interact with a specific game, the longer you play, the more milestones you achieve. Actually, haven't used Misplay because I think it's not live in the winter wonderland. but the more you interact, the more you get rewards. And that is essentially the loop. So you get incentivized to interact with a game that is personalized to you for a longer time. And of course, the developer gets a retained player, not just an offer war player that reaches level 5 and dips out, but somebody who's actually rewarded to play that game. Web stores. You've seen what good looks like, but have you seen great? AppCharge is the direct-to-consumer platform backed by the likes of Supercell and built by monetization pros from Moon Active, Playtika, Huge Games, and others. People who know the difference. AppCharge powers over $500 million in transaction a year for top studios, optimizing every detail. Deeply personalized web store offers custom-made design, industry-leading monetization features, in-game payments, SDK, and more. 70% of top grossing games already have a web store, but the ones scaling fastest, they're doing it with AppCharge. Learn more at appcharge.com.
Exactly. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I think the key for us as well is giving users a pretty vast choice of games that they can choose from. If you force a user to just play 1 or 2 games that they're not that interested in, sure, they may get in there and try and do something and chase that carrot along, but guess what? They're gonna drop. And what we've seen is that engagement drives spend in games. That's not that's not a mythical statement by any means, but you really see the engagement when users are playing their favorite games, right? And then so if they're doing those actions in those games and they're being rewarded for doing so, there's that win-win scenario for both the user and the game publisher. And also, like, I've seen this throughout my career where in some cases the users almost get this gratification that they feel like the game itself is almost doing something for them and giving them something too, which is again a nice kind of trifecta in terms of that win-win-win situation.
Yeah. Well, talking about this incentivized or this loyalty model. So how does this come together when we think about user acquisition part? Because we understand it from the retention part, that's kind of embedded into it. But is it, how would I put it? We're working on a hybrid casual report or white paper with Meta, and we put loyalty apps as, the best possible users, but the least amount of them. Would that be correct? Categorization is kind of like the pool is not that large, or has the pool increased significantly where you can have this as one of the main growth channels for your titles?
Yeah, it's a great question. For me, the way I see it is that a lot of gamers have engaged with some kind of rewards-based system, right? There's reports out there that say like over 50% of gamers have done something or spent money for some kind of reward. That's growing, and so we are seeing the pool of people who are joining loyalty programs increase. What we're really seeing, though, is the high value users percentage increasing and sticking around in loyalty games. For us, that's actually doubled year over year over year for the last 3 years in a row in terms of the percentage of high value users that make up our pool of the community, right? And that's really what we're focused on, is building a community, not necessarily saying, hey, we need to get this to absolutely massive astronomical heights in terms of how many users are in Misplay. But really, when we focus on that high value users, that's where we want to double down. So that from a UA channel perspective, as you mentioned, it may not be the highest volume channel, right? You may not be getting 10,000, 15,000 downloads a day, but those downloads you are getting are going to be strong. They're going to fit the LTV curve in the right way, and ultimately come at a price that makes sense for the TRAS algorithms that we operate. So we don't do any manual bidding or anything like that. It's all powered by our AI engine, which is a bit of a unique feature of Misplay in the rewarded space specifically, not so much in ad tech, but in the rewarded space. It's what we focus on, and that obviously yields stronger recommendations and therefore stronger performance for the clients for those high valued users that we sent through.
And so as Misplay, as a business, your focus is to sign publishers or developers,
Yep.
and at the
Yep.
same time promote your app to get more and more players in your app.
Yeah, it's growing the game catalog with the right games, all while growing our community of mobile gamers at the same time, and then providing the best experience for them to be matched in the right way.
And when you grow your catalog of games, do you also delete certain games where you feel like they are not, or not delete, but maybe remove them from the catalog if you're not seeing them performing particularly well with your audience?
No, so I mean, like you can take it the approach in two ways, right? You can create a very curated list of a small amount of games, and those are the targets you want to acquire and bring on as clients. Um, or you can go after absolutely everyone. And if you go after absolutely everyone, you can have a vast amount of choice, but ultimately it's a struggle to cater to everyone. So the approach that we take really is to go after, yes, a broad genre and broad spectrum of games, especially across different geos, right? Because it is different in different geos. In the US, where puzzle and casual are super successful in loyalty, it's very different in Korea, where 50% of the top 300 IAP games in Korea are made up from RPG games. And so we look at things very much on a geo specific basis. We match up based on what our users are interested in and asking for and looking for, and those are the kind of games we go for. And then the AI engine powers our game catalog and what we call our mix list experience. So while there may be 400 games behind the scenes, like you as Mishka may see 100, obviously in the right order that's catered for you, where we feel like you're going to engage with those right games and ultimately, hopefully, spend in those games too to yield stronger ROAS results for the game publisher.
Interesting. And the way you optimize this, is it the goal to have as many players playing as many games as intensively, or is it more that you want to focus, like you want, you know, one player as they normally do, focus on a couple of different puzzle games if they're a puzzle type of users and so forth?
I would say it's based on what the specific users are doing in those specific games. And again, because it's a time-based reward system with cashback on spend, which is great for the users. If we're seeing users not perform certain behaviors during their life cycle and journey within that game, because we're a loyalty app, we're not an ad network. The app's running in the background. We can do really cool things when it comes to live ops in particular. And so we know we may say, you know what, you've installed this game, you're playing it, you're not coming back too often, you're not really spending in it, you're not really retaining as much as we'd like. You know what, let's throw some recommendations in front of you and try and get you into something that's better suited for you. And then obviously that data goes back into the models for the next recommendations, understanding that they maybe weren't right for this specific game and why they weren't right for it. And so for us, like live ops is a hugely powerful tool because we are our own app, we are our own community, as mentioned, from a loyalty standpoint. And so delivering the right messages to the right users at the right time, not only to push games down their throat, but to really say, okay, you're phenomenal in this game. Like keep playing it. You clearly like it. You're enjoying yourself. You're referring friends. You're doing all the right things. Like let's run a live ops campaign in partnership with the game developer themselves because they're running a special promotion. So we're going to hit you with similar messaging to keep you going, or we're going to give you some extra multipliers on the rewards to keep enjoying the game, because ultimately that's what we're trying to do, right? If you break it all down, if you can get players playing their favorite games and games they love, again, engagement drives spend, right? Get them engaged, drive spend, keep them going, and ultimately the rewards will come for themselves.
Today's podcast is brought to you by AppsFlyer, inviting you to dive into their new first of its kind report, The State of Creative Optimization 2025 edition. It's not about how to make creatives. It's about understanding what makes users actually stop scrolling and what emotional and psychological triggers drive performance. Based on over 1 million creative variations and nearly $2.5 billion in ad spend, the insights in the report will help you develop a winning creative strategy. Check out the link in the podcast description below or go to appsflyer.com and search the state of creative optimization. That's appsflyer.com. There's no editorial content that you should read about a game and download it afterwards. No. But more. Okay. Anyways, so when we're thinking about games that fit your platform, is it more the type of games that have relatively high in-app purchase opportunities?
No, it's. I mean, IP games are great, but we also work with hybrid games, IA games, and really it's about a personalized economy for those games. Number one, so as you can imagine, the economy rates are different for an IA game than an IAP game. Um, our demographic of users enjoy both kinds of games, and it's funny. This conversation is interesting because we talk about this behind the scenes too, where we say you get so caught up behind the scenes of okay, like this T ROAS, that T ROAS, this IAP, IA 40% hybrid model. When really, if you strip it back from a user perspective, they don't know the game's IAA or IAP or hybrid. They're just saying, hey, this game looks cool and I like it and I think I'm going to enjoy it, so I'm going to play it. So when you strip everything back, that's the main focus. We're continuing to develop specific feature sets for both kinds of games and all kinds of games. Something we're seeing work really, really well is anything around kind of social competitiveness. So, and that's I resonate with that too when I'm playing, you know. And so, if there's a leaderboards feature in an IA game, I'm gonna continue to play and probably watch some ads or try and skip through some ads to get further because I want to get up the leaderboard within Misplay. Or something to me that's happening right now. I'm in a buddy quest with another player on Misplay, not a friend of mine, just another player, and I've been busy lately, so I haven't had a chance to play. And this guy's crushing it. And I log in and I see how he's doing, and he's completed like 7 tasks, and I'm on 3, and I'm like, holy cow, I feel bad. I've got to get back in the game and do this. So while it's not kind of split between IA and IAP, we see these features work across the board for both subsets of app categories.
Interesting. And does it work also geographically the same way, or are there certain, higher ARPU geographies that you concentrate, such as Tier One West and Japan, Korea, or are you like in all the countries?
Yeah, for us, we're in 9 countries right now, kind of the tier one countries. So in APAC, it's Korea and Japan. Japan we just launched like 3 or 4 months ago, so it's
Yeah.
growing at the moment. And
Congrats.
then in the West, it's obviously US, UK, Canada, and then in Europe, it's France and Germany. That's for a reason. Those are the markets we want to focus on. We want to build very localized and culturalized products in those markets specifically versus going for a broad sweep and being available in every country. We want to make sure that experience is very tailored. And so that goes down to like our models. It goes down to the rewards, which is extremely important when it comes to localization. In Korea, they don't want to see Amazon because it doesn't exist. They want to see Kakao, right, and Neverpay and things like that. And a few of us went out to South Korea a couple months ago, which was phenomenal trip. Yes, to spend time with our local teams out there and meet local clients, but also just to get a feel of how different brands are advertising out there in the market and how
Yeah.
mobile games are advertising. And most will know this, but the trusted brand element in Korea and Japan, especially, is so important. And so in Japan, where they haven't heard of Misplay before, and we're coming in and trying to make some noise, we've really realized by visiting there and working closely with our local teams that yes, we can have a great AI model in there and we can have some of the right games and we can have local rewards. But guess what? If they've never heard of you and they've never worked with you, it's going to take some time. And so I really respect that culture and the learnings we've had there. And we're super excited to grow in both geos significantly over the next couple of years.
Interesting. You are really like expanding slowly, or not slowly, but methodically. That's actually the better word. You're, doing your homework and not just
Yeah.
releasing as soon as possible, covering all the markets, but making sure that when you are engaging with a key market like Japan, Korea, then you're doing everything correctly.
That's exactly right. It's everything we do is there's strong strategy behind it. It's all on purpose. If we wanted to turn on Misplay in 50 countries tomorrow, we could, right? It's not the hardest thing to do, but how many of those will be a success, and will we be delivering the right experience to our players, which we deeply care about? And so, yes, it's a very methodical approach to our strategy in terms of global expansion.
Yeah. Love it. No, we did the same thing back in the days, but this is about you, not about me. So let's move forward. So, anyways, what other sort of a few future key markets where you're thinking about expanding? Because like I would assume India would be probably pretty interesting, growing large market.
India's an interesting one. We're having kind of early level conversations today about some of those more vast markets that aren't specifically focused on high IAP and where it's a slightly different model. It comes down to that economy testing again in those markets. You see more and more like smaller, as we said at the start, like local competitors in the reward space starting to pop up there.
Okay.
There'll be challenges for sure. We've done some of those learnings and we understand how to make it work. It's just a matter of timing and when. we are really focused on ruthless prioritization behind the scenes and making sure every step we make is the right one as we look to hit our goals as a business over the next couple of years. But that being said, I think India, Brazil, other kind of more IAA heavy markets, there's an interesting opportunity to discover there.
Talking about like how you help developers, like how does getting traffic from Misplay help developer to improve their KPIs? Like I'm assuming that your user profile is pretty good, especially, I mean, they're literally incentivized to continue playing, and that game has been recommended them for a reason. So how do you help developers to reach key retention metrics?
It comes back to that live ops piece and some of the features we discussed briefly. So because we have one-to-one relationships with our game publishers, we're not using affiliates and we're not using agencies or anything like that. It's a one-to-one. We've known these guys for many, many years. We can get pretty entrenched in understanding their strategies as well. And so if we're getting feedback that there's something going on in the game after a user hits D14 or D30 or a specific milestone or achievement, we're continuing to evolve in the way we operate to try and bring that messaging to them within Misplay too. Because when you're playing the game, like it will actually pop down and say, hey, you've just reached checkpoint 3 in Misplay, you've reached checkpoint 5 in Misplay. And then you're returning to Misplay to kind of see, oh, do I have enough units to do anything with yet? Are there any tasks I can do to increase my earn rates or increase my rewards? And so as they're doing that, when they're back in the Misplay app, that's the perfect opportunity to send some kind of push notification or pop-up or new task specific to an event in that game that may be coming, or they may just be on the cusp of doing, to get that messaging across to them. So again, we're kind of on the cusp of doing a lot more of this, which we're very excited about. Continue to personalize that experience specific to each kind of game they're playing and the users that's doing that as well. But because of the wealth of data that we sit on, you can do some really interesting things around lifecycle and live ops, which we continue to explore with.
And what does a successful or optimal type of relationship between a developer and a Misplay look like? Because there is that data that you have. There are so many opportunities, and we are talking about retention. So how does the best in class relationship work?
Great communication, for sure. Not making judgments too quickly. Understanding that you shouldn't judge it as just another channel, right? It's a partnership, and because of these levers and different features available, there's certain unique things that can happen that developers sometimes don't expect, or they may not realize we have that capability. Versus just saying, hey, D7 is not looking great, D3s are struggling, we're gonna pause the campaigns. It's like, hey, let's talk about this. Let's discuss the strategy. Let's look out over the next 3 months and let's really understand how we can help improve things, and collaborate together to do so. And that's also why we have local teams around the world in the key geos we operate with, because we feel like it's very important to be there and have those conversations and really understand the struggles, challenges, and also the opportunities that could be presented.
And so with every different market that you enter, you localize the rewards accordingly to that market. Okay. And that means
Correct.
that you have to have local teams.
Local teams, but we have relationships with different vendors that help power that, essentially.
I am going back to that notion where you said, like, you could turn on Misplay in 50 countries tomorrow. Like, that's not the problem. But where you choose to take this methodical, and some might consider slow, like, it is a slow approach, but it is deliberately slow. It's not because you could move faster. It's because you chose to move slower. And at the same time, you have new competitors, as we said, popping up like literally every second. Not anymore, maybe, but it felt like that at least the last year. It felt like everybody is opening up next Misplay. So I'm curious of, like, how did you make that decision to be methodical, and how easy it is to stay in that decision when you feel like, oh my God, another one just popped up? Like, just like, cause how do you stay the course where you could accelerate significantly?
Game devs. We know that great gameplay is what players love, but integrating metagame features like challenges, progression, rewards is crucial for retention and monetization. However, coding them is a tedious and time-consuming process. That's why top studios have turned to Hero. Hero provides a complete suite of battle-tested metagame features that are quick to implement, letting you spend more time on the core gameplay experience. Ready to ship fully featured, engaging games? Check out Hero today by clicking the link below.
Experience, to be honest with you. I mean, Misplay's been around since 2016, right? It was founded in Montreal, Canada back then. We're proud to be a Canadian company, to be honest with you. And that's why we have a hub in Montreal and a hub in Toronto, and we continue to grow in Canada.
So talking about Misplaced roadmap, so you do have two hubs. You are very methodical. You have been since 2016. You are ahead of the game significantly, even though you haven't pushed it geographically. So what does your roadmap look like? Like, how are you continuing to innovate in this category?
Yeah, for us, there's a few different focuses, and some I can share and some I can't. But I'll
Of course
talk about
not.
a couple of things for sure. I think personalizing, continue to personalize the entire experience, but also the shop experience and the rewards experience, I think is really valuable. It's something we invest a lot of time in, and we expand our data science team consistently because we know that's what the power is. So for us, it's how do we get these very personalized rewards catered to each individual users, that again may look very, very different. And it's not just gift cards, right? It's are there certain brand offers that could be interesting for you to get a heavy discount on, because you've earned so much rewards or because you're a certain loyalty status. Something we've just released is having games IP bundles and currencies in our shop too, so users can use their rewards to exchange them for specific bundles from those games. And the experience is really cool. It's really seamless, where they'll go into the shop, they'll have a certain amount of Misplay units. They'll say, oh, look, I can buy these IP bundles for my favorite games. Let me do it, use the units to do it. And then the next time they open that game, they hit claim reward, opens the game, and boom, it pops up. And there's the currency and the rewards that they've used their Misplay units for. And we did that because we were finding so many users were using their units to buy Google Play gift cards. And what were they doing with those Google Play gift cards? Going back into the game and doing in-app purchases, right? And so all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute, there's a really sweet loop here that can personalize the experience for the users while increasing retention for the games, right? Because instead of them buying an Amazon gift card, leaving the game and going to do that, they're now doing something specific for that game that they're playing, and they can then go in and do that experience too. And so from a shop perspective, that's really where we see great opportunity as well. And then look, all things when it comes to our models and the AI-powered recommender, we continue to triple down on as much as we can, improving for our clients, improving on our TROAS algorithms, extending those out a little bit potentially, and just continuing to make sure we're yielding strong results for them is always a focus for us too. And then I'll say it, I probably shouldn't say it, but I'll say it, there's a white elephant in the room, as you said at the start, we're only on Google Play. Yeah. And, we have some announcements coming up at MAU here in Vegas, and this will air like a week before, I think. We're in the future now, in the past, podcast life, but some interesting announcements coming, which I think the industry will react very well to. Our clients will react very well to. There's a countdown clock on our website now, which is cool. And so anyway, I'll stop there, but it will be an interesting one to stay tuned for, MAU.
Really cool. And you're not being hit by this epic Apple legal battle because now everybody is integrating their web shops. That doesn't bother you at all. Go ahead, spend on a web shop, come back and get more loyalty points. We're not here to do your transactions. We're here to reward you for your loyalty.
Exactly. And I think the news is exciting for game developers, and I think it's going to be good for the industry overall. And to your point, exactly, for us, it's another angle to help game pubs yield strong results in those areas. And so if we can now drive users directly to those, and by the way, it's always a bit of a unique thing for us. Like, we were going to take the approach of, hey, games can't drive users to their web shops. We have a lot of spenders and users who we can drive to your web shop. So let's put those custom links into Misplay. And then all of a sudden this happens. It's like, wait a minute, this is super exciting. Now let's see how we can also leverage this and help game publishers and drive users to the right place.
All right. Well, Aaron, before I let you go, I made 5 rapid fire questions as an outro. So are you
Ooh,
ready?
I hope so.
All right. These are going to be pretty easy. So, game you want to play, but you can't get into.
Uh, I'll give you a rapid fire answer, but I want to go into a story. I'm not going to say a mobile game because we work with too many of them.
Yeah, exactly.
My answer is FIFA, right? And
Wow.
here's why. Growing up, as you can imagine, in England, all we did was play FIFA, right? And
Mandatory.
then moved to the States, all we did was play FIFA. Then I had 2 kids, stopped playing. It's now been 7 or 8 years. Picked up a controller, and I couldn't get into it. And I was like, I was almost like part of my soul left my body. So I was like, oh my God, I can't get into FIFA. What happened to me? Am I really approaching 40 next year that I can't play FIFA anymore? So that's my long-winded rapid fire answer.
That's a good answer. It's like riding a bike. I'm sure you can get into it. Like I got into it a while back. I was playing my business partner's kid. He had a couple of kids, but I was losing to the 14-year-old, but then he had a daughter who was like 9, so I got beat her. So I still got it. Anyway, better signal of future spending, time in game or number of sessions.
Well, I'm going to go time in game.
Well, okay. Hardest gamer persona to retain, casual Candace or sporty Steve?
Sporty Steve.
Yeah, he has options.
Yep.
What's the one
He's
mobile
playing
game
FIFA.
marketing? Yeah, exactly. It's FIFA. Though that's on mobile. What's the one mobile game marketing trend you wish would go away?
Well, I touched on this already, but I wish sometimes marketers would give new channels a bit more time instead of judging on D1, D3, D7. Like, last week's cohort was bad, so let's pause. There's a bit more time, sometimes a bit more communication. Something we see in APAC actually a lot, where the LTV predictions are so strong, but sometimes you'll launch and you'll get a bad D3 and they'll be gone. So for me, it's just giving a bit more time and a bit more of a partnership to help see what channels can do.
Okay. Invest for longer. Final one. What would you say to a studio that is skeptical about working with Misplay?
I would say there's only one way to find out. Give it a shot. You know where to find me. Give me a shout. Happy to have a chat and figure out if there's an option for it to work for you.
All right. Well, on that note, Aaron's LinkedIn in the description below. Aaron, thank you so much for coming on a podcast. I wanted to have Misplay for a while because everybody was talking about it. So I'm I'm glad you made it, and excited to hear the announcement in MAU in a week or two. No, next week.
Let's see. We're excited too. Thanks, Mishka. Hope to see you there.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Till next time. Thanks for listening to the full episode. Now, did you know that Deconstructor of Fund isn't just your favorite industry podcast? We're also a bit of a consulting powerhouse. Now, whether you're launching your next hit, scaling your live ops, or vetting your next acquisition, we've got you covered. From market research and go-to-market strategy to live operations tuning and due diligence, our team of experts works with the top names as well as the rising stars of the industry. So if you are building, publishing, or buying, don't do it alone. Do it with us. Email consulting@deconstructoroffund.com and let's build smarter together.